If you opened up a new pack and found a card inside that had a $1 million bounty offer on it, would you immediately redeem that bounty? Well, there's one collector out there right now who has that option, but he hasn't redeemed it yet. What's going on? We'll give you the lowdown now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot, Carter, gentlemen, $1 million card is now sitting in the hands of a collector. There's a bounty on it, but it hasn't been redeemed yet. Is it ever going to be redeemed? Should it absolutely be redeemed? We are going to get into this topic today because it is a big one. And look, here's the backstory on this. Topps Chrome Basketball 2024 came out last week. It hit card shops all over the world, just like here at Cards HQ last week. And Jared Blesnick from Blez Sports Cards, a big breaker, they had put out a bounty of $1 million in exchange for the Victor Wembanyama Topps Chrome Superfractor Auto, the one of one, the premier card from that product. Jared Blesnick wanted it, and he put out a video some time ago saying that he would pay $1 million to whoever pulled that card. Well, sure enough, over the weekend, in fact, it was late Friday night, that a collector posted to Instagram that he had pulled the card. This was from Z Collector M on Instagram. He goes by Michael, and he first put up a picture of the card, then he put up a video of the card showing that it was real, flipping the card over. This was a new Instagram account. This collector is not really known. There's some rumors that maybe he's an overseas collector, but we're not real sure about that yet. Some people were even questioning if it was even a real photo and video because nobody knew who this person was, but I have checked with some industry sources who have seen the card, who are aware of what that card is supposed to look like, and they believe that that is in fact the real card, so that it should be the real deal. This guy has the real deal. But he pulls the card Friday night. Sunday, Jared Blesnick goes on Instagram and puts out a video pleading for this guy to pick up the phone and please, take his messages, because he's reaching out saying, I want to give you $1 million for the card. And the guy hasn't responded to him. Now, the guy did post a response in the comments saying that he got in touch, so they have now connected. But here we are, a number of days later. The bounty hasn't been officially redeemed yet. I've messaged the collector multiple times, no reply. I have reached out to Jared Blesnick. He has not commented yet either. Hopefully this deal gets done. Hopefully this guy takes the money and does this. But guys, here's my question for you. If you pulled this card, would you not immediately go get on the next airline flight to fly to Las Vegas and show up at Jared Blesnick's store and say, here's the card, I brought my suitcases, fill it up with $1 million, I'm heading back home? I would not pass go. I would go straight to Vegas and collect my $1 million immediately. The fact that this collector hasn't done this yet, Teapot, what does this mean?
The whole way this has played out has been kind of wonky, right? Like, this account shows up, like you said, nobody knows who is this guy, is it even real? And it's just without any of the fanfare that we probably would have expected around the biggest pull of the year, one of the biggest pulls of the last 5 years in terms of value of a card. So that's just felt really funny. I think we probably all expected it was an inevitable thing that a breaker would hit this and we'd have the hyped up video surfacing. We don't have any of that. We just have a no audio rotation of the card.
From a brand new Instagram account, from somebody who's never shown his face. Yeah. We don't even know what this guy, Michael, looks like. Doesn't even put his last name out there. Yeah. Crazy.
This is one of the rare instances where a bounty that's put out probably isn't excessively above and beyond what the card would actually do on open auction. We saw with the Drew Jones Superfractor and other bounties, things that have come out. Those are probably much higher than if the card actually went on the open market. In this case, I don't know what this card would sell for at open auction. It might do over $1 million. It might do more than that. I don't know. Because
so you actually think
look at
that this collector's got something he seriously needs to think about here?
I don't know.
Wow.
I didn't think the Black Shimmer would go for over $500,000.
It did. And you're referring to from Prism Basketball, the one-of-one Black Shimmer.
Non-auto.
Right.
First off the line, black curtain background. So that card obviously sold for a ton of money.
Now that was NBA licensed.
Was licensed.
This one's not.
That's right.
But it was an autographed.
I don't know. And now on top of this, so Beijing Card Love pulled the other one-of-one Wemby auto from Topps Chrome, the certified rookie autograph Superfractor. I don't know how much that card's worth relative to the base one-of-one Superfractor. If I could get $1 million for this card, I'd be there.
Okay.
I'd be like, give me my $1 million. I'm moving on. I don't even care to, sorry, Ken Golden, no, I'm not going to call you. I'm just taking my $1 million and going. But the one thing I will note too, people were speculating that because both Wemby Superfractor autos got hit, Blaze Breaks pulled the one-of-one Helix Wemby, there have been some big cards hit, that wax prices on this would be going down rapidly.
Yeah.
Well, the card was pulled 4 or 5 days ago or roughly. The boxes are down $20, $25. It's not like they've come crashing down. There are still some high dollar cards coming out of this, including all the other Wemby autos. You got Scoot Henderson autos selling for over $1,000. The numbered stuff, the black to 10. Brandon Miller's orange to 25 sold for over $1,000. So there's value in this box with those rookie autos. The wax price hasn't come crashing down just yet in spite of the big chases being off the board.
Well, I'm glad the wax price hasn't come crashing down because, Carter, as you know, we got a bunch of it in our showcases here at Cards HQ. We actually have a lot of boxes of that product, which is nice. People have been coming in and buying it, and we're able to help them out with that. Some products we sell out of really quickly. That one we have a number of boxes of, so it's good that the value is holding right now. Hopefully that will continue to be the case. But Carter, if you were the collector that pulled this $1 million card, is it even something you think about and debate, or do you just go straight immediately and take that $1 million bounty?
I'd be in Vegas yesterday.
Yeah.
Point blank. I mean,
Put it on black. And let it go for
sure. Yeah, that's you, not me. But, you know, I'd be in Vegas yesterday. I think it's a no-brainer type of bounty. I do agree with Teapot, though. I feel like there are bounties out there that are a certain multiplier above what the card's actually worth. This card's a little different. You know, I don't think the bounty is so much higher than what I think it would actually go for today. In the long term, you know, there's a debate there. There's a lot of debate around other cards. There's debates around his first Bowman Superfractor auto, right? There's going to be debates about his true Prism Black when that sells. Like, what's his best card out there? And this card's in that conversation, but it may not be. And the fact that there's a conversation around it, you know, unlike in other products like football right now, where, you know, they're all licensed products, right? You kind of know what that top card is, and so then it's better to value it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that both of you think that if this card were to go out to open auction, that it could get around that $1 million mark. So it does actually give this collector something to think about. To me, I don't know. I'm not sure I see that. I think $1 million is a relatively strong offer on this card because it is unlicensed. Granted, it is his only rookie auto, so I mean that does add value to it. But I don't see it as a $1 million card. Maybe I'm wrong on it. I see it maybe as a $500,000 card, but probably not a $1 million card. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Of course, there is the other side of all this. Maybe this guy doesn't care about the money. Maybe he's just wants it for his PC, and that's you know the thing that's possible as well. I mean, if I pulled that USA basketball card myself, that of course I've got a bounty on that I'm going after, that triple auto, the LeBron, Steph, KD auto. If I pulled that card myself, I don't care what bounties are out there. I would not sell that card. I would keep that card. That particular one I would keep because as a collector, I desperately want that card.
Well, that's where you're doing it wrong. You got to pull it, and then you put out a bigger bounty, and then you ask Giannis to pay you double.
There you go.
For the card, like he said.
Apparently, well, he deleted his comment. He was on the double train for a minute. I think maybe before he realized quite where the offers had gotten to on that card. But that's a lot of fun that Giannis has been, you know, playing in the bounty game as well. And he respects the card the same way I respect the card. He really wants it. Well, look, I don't know exactly what is going to happen with this $1 million offer on the Wemby one-of-one card. I'm hopeful that we get an update soon from the collector or from Jared Blesnick. Maybe they come out with some joint video soon where the collector has in fact flown to Vegas and accepts the offer. But it's surprising to me that we haven't heard anything yet. And this is now several days after the card has in fact been pulled. So we'll see where this whole thing goes. But one thing I know for sure is that Arena Club is the place to be tomorrow, because Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, they are dropping another set of their slab packs, as they do every week, with some incredible grails to chase in their Ruby slab packs. Check this out. This week in Arena Club's Ruby Basketball Grail Packs, they are putting in a Paolo Banchero 2022 National Treasures True RPA number to 99. They also have a bonus chase of a Victor Wembanyama 2023 Topps Chrome Certified Rookie Auto Refractor that you can find in there as well. In their football grail packs, they've got a 2023 Absolute Kaboom PSA 10, and they've also, in their baseball packs, have the Bobby Witt Jr. 2020 Bowman Chrome Orange Shimmer Auto number to 25 in a PSA 10. Those are some big cards that you can pull in their grail packs tomorrow. And make sure to use promo code SCI when you're registering at Arena Club for 10% off your first purchase of anything, including slab packs. Download the Arena Club app to your phone and then use promo code SCI for that 10% off. All right, guys, let's talk about another card that has commanded mega prices in the sports card market. Not quite as much as the $1 million bounty for the Victor Wembanyama, but this card has been hot in its own right. The 1984 Star Michael Jordan card. Over this past weekend, there was a PSA 8 copy of that card that sold at Golden Auctions for $244,000. And actually, there are 3 PSA 9s out there. Those actually would be worth more than that Victor Wembanyama Superfractor. But the PSA 8s aren't quite there yet. But what is very notable about that $244,000 sale of the PSA 8 is not only is that the record sale for that Star Jordan in that grade in PSA 8, but it also outsold at the same auction. There was a 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan PSA 10, long considered the gold standard for Michael Jordan cards. The 86 Fleer PSA 10, that sold at auction for $195,000, which was around the price point that card has been hovering at now for the last few years. The Star card, on the other hand, has gone from, well, being worth $100,000 when I bought it 2 years ago, dipped a little bit from then, and then has come roaring up this year, and now $244,000 in PSA 8 condition. So my question to you guys, is the rise of the Star Jordans sustainable? And do you think now this card in PSA 8 will forever remain above the 1986 Fleer PSA 10, or will the hobby's thinking on these cards start to reverse at some point in time? Teapot, I'll start with you.
This is probably the line between those, like the PSA 8 with this. Obviously, it depends if more Star cards surface in good condition and get graded. You know, a few have obviously hit these big numbers in the last few years. There could still be more out there in the sealed packs or whatever. That card up 317% in the last year. Even the PSA 7 up 146%. BGS 8.5 up 81%. All of these Star Jordan cards have been gaining a lot of traction. I think it makes a lot of sense because of the rarity. What's also helping is this has just been a topic of conversation on pretty much every notable podcast about sports cards, about basketball cards, in magazines, all kinds of things. It's just been circulating. It's getting a lot more exposure. It's getting credible, or at least very influential big voices talking about this card, which just rises the confidence level. Plus the fact that PSA decided to start grading and authenticating this card was a big deal. So all of those things kind of coming together have resulted in a lot more hype, a lot more energy around this. I think it's here to stay. I think in the higher grades, because of the rarity, because of how few of them there are, it's going to command that primacy of place. Overall, it's not doing anything in terms of overshadowing the iconic nature of the 86 Fleer rookie card, which is still the card. You're not going to have this card crack the top 10 of most iconic cards of all time, but of rarity and everything else, it's like the Baltimore News Babe Ruth. It's like people are going to want this card because it's the first and it's really important.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And you mentioned population count. So there are just a total of 3 of the 1984 Star Jordan in a PSA 9, 0 in a PSA 10, 3 in a PSA 9, and there's, I forget the exact number now, in a PSA 8, it's less than 40. I think it's around 30 something that have ever been graded in a PSA 8. So you compare that to the fact that there are over 320 of the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan in a PSA 10. And that's where you see the big difference in terms of rarity. Carter, what is your take on this sale of the 1984 Star Jordan?
This is telling me the market's getting more seasoned. People are getting more educated on cards, right? In 2020, 2021, all you heard was the 86 Fleer. You heard about a sale all the time. People were talking about it. People wanted it. And now I feel it's the star. Like you hear about it, as you said, on all these podcasts, all this content. So, I mean, this all makes sense to me. I do not expect it to go up too much more than this, honestly, in the near future. You may actually see a sale down a little bit, at some point. But I do expect it to kind of stay in this range, closer to and competing with the PSA 1086 Fleer in an 8 grade. I just think overall the rarity and overall as people get more experience and realize, I'd rather have a car that has a less than 40 pop than a car that has 100 pop, or even more, right? So I think this is a good thing, though. I think people need to, look for these more rare cars just in general.
Because the population is so low, what happened with the PSA 10 Jordans a few years ago when they went all the way up to the moon is less likely to happen with these cards, meaning those things shot up and then everybody who bought those cards at much lower prices suddenly was staring down the barrel of 2, 3, 5x what they paid for the card or more. And so there was this flood of cards to the market of that PSA 1086 Fleer Jordan. I don't expect the same thing to happen. Yeah, you'll probably see some come out of the woodwork progressively. The auction houses would be smart to stagger those if they get them, coming in waves and not just flood the market with them. But I don't think that's a risk because the population's so low.
Yeah, and that's a big difference. You're absolutely right. That happened back in 2021 where you had something like 40 of those 1986 Fleer Jordan PSA 10s auctioned within a less than a 12-month period. Can't happen with a star in a high grade like that. There's not enough of them out there for that to happen. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where the price goes between both cards. I think they're both wonderful ones to have. I love both of those cards for sure. I also love the fact that the next Topps Rip Night is coming the Saturday after next. It's going to be celebrated at card shops all over the country, including here at Cards HQ. So if you happen to be coming into Atlanta for the Culture Collision card show, which is taking place around the corner, that's Saturday night. We are hosting Topps Rip Night here at Cards HQ, which will be a big trade night and a big event. And if you can't join in person, please watch online because we will be broadcasting live from 5 to 8 p.m. that night here on this Sports Card Investor channel. That is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. It promises to be quite the fun night, guys. Okay, that Star Jordan sale was not the only major record that was hit over the weekend. In fact, there were multiple cards at that golden auction that set all-time high records. The most expensive Ellie De La Cruz card ever to sell sold over the weekend. His 2024 Topps Chrome Rookie Auto Superfractor 1 of 1 sold for a little over $116,000. That was a PSA 9. Also, Jackson Holliday's 2024 Topps Chrome Rookie Auto Superfractor 1 of 1 sold in the same auction for a little bit over $68,000. That was a PSA 10. And then finally, Mookie Betts 2014 Bowman Chrome Auto Red Refractor number to 5 in a PSA 10 sold for a little bit over $123,000. Big sales on all three of those cards. Which sale surprised you the most, and which card would you most like to own? Which one do you think is going to be most valuable down the road, Carter? These are tough questions. I'm going to start with you.
The most surprising to me, and it's actually the same card that I'd rather have, is the Mookie. And it's really just because of timing. He's been hurt a lot of this year. He started the year at second base. He's now back in the outfield and kind of going back and forth. But this is exciting. To me, this shows that people are actually looking for these established ball players, right, in the league. The Ellie De La Cruz and Holiday sales are not surprising me. Ever since 2020, we've been used to these, I'd say, lesser unproven guys getting big numbers for big cards, right? I don't see so much upside in those cards. The Holiday, I see actually a good amount of upside in comparison to the Ellie. Ellie's a little bit more proven, but Jackson Holiday's getting a little bit more hot. He may become more seasoned here in coming years. Ellie to me is, more talented and more person that's going to be more exciting, but, these sales just don't surprise me. The Mookie, though, overall, it's just a timing thing. I wouldn't have sold this card right now. So the fact that this is a record sale for a Mookie Betts card is unreal, and it shows that there's buyers out there that are looking for these established ball players in the market.
Yeah, maybe people are excited about, the Dodgers look like they're going to be unbeatable for years to come, perhaps, with how that team, the different weapons they have on it. What do you think, Teapot, of these sales?
I think Carter's got it all wrong. Sorry, Carter. But the Mookie is the one that surprises me the least. And I say that because there are some really serious Mookie collectors, people who trust his card value long term. He's second in active WAR among active players behind only Mike Trout. He's about, 86 versus 69 career WAR. Mookie's 31, Trout's 33. Over the last 5 years, since 2020, Mookie has the third highest WAR in baseball. Trout's way down on the list at 49th, and he can't stay healthy. So by the end of their careers, Mookie could pass Trout. He could also have, he already has 2 World Series to his name. He could have a 3rd World Series, potentially a 4th or 5th World Series by the end of his career, playing alongside Ohtani and Freeman and these other incredible talents. Trout, we don't even know if he'll ever get out of the Angels, but this isn't about dunking on Trout. The point is that card just didn't surprise me with that sale. It's a big card. His Superfractor auto 1/1 sold back in 2019 for $79,000 on Golden. That was the biggest Mookie sale prior to now. So this is the red. I think that other card is a $200,000 sale at least right now.
At least, yeah. This one sold for $123,
right.
yeah.
So Ellie surprised me a lot. It's the second most expensive Superfractor auto, rookie auto, out of tops for any baseball player ever. The only more expensive rookie Superfractor auto was Fernando Tatis Jr. for $170,000 back in 2021.
That one hasn't worked out as well.
During the hype, hasn't worked out as well. There was a sale of Juan Soto's Topps Chrome Update Superfractor rookie auto for $79,000 a month ago.
That one's more deserved.
It was raw,
right.
And it was a sticker auto.
Okay.
But still, I would trust that card
over Ellie for for quite a bit more.
Personally, now Ellie has been proving a lot of people wrong this year. He's in the MVP conversation, not really a contender to win, but top 10 vote, I would think for sure in the NL. So he's generating a lot of attention. Who's not is Jackson Holliday, who I think we're all rooting for the hobby's sake, for his sake. I like him. I like his family. I loved his dad in MLB. It's early, but he's hitting 181 through 42 games in the league. Drew Jones was another highly touted prospect that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. He's struggling in the minor leagues after those big bounties. These young guys who hit these top 10s on the prospect list are highly touted. There's just no guarantee they're ever going to be good. So to put $69,000 into that card right now would make me really nervous when there were rumors of Baltimore being pretty eager to package him in trade deals at the deadline to try to get somebody like Skubal or somebody else. Obviously that didn't work out, but I don't know. We'll see with Holiday. Time will tell. But right now he looks like the least of all those loaded prospects for the Baltimore organization.
All right, so Mookie Betts is the play. There you go.
I think it's a great buy. Whoever got that, I think it's a great buy.
Hopefully it's one that they feel great about 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now. I think they will. He's a special player. It's not just card sales that set records over the last week, also grading. The grading numbers from August are in from GemRate. Over 1.8 million cards were graded by the 4 major grading companies during the month of August. That is an all-time record. Now, the 1.8 million includes sports cards as well as non-sports and TCG cards. The previous record was 1.78 million set back in May, so we beat the record by a little bit. PSA, once again, the lion's share of this. Of the 1.8 million, they graded 1.4 million of those cards. That is up 10% from the month before. That is up 13% from the same month a year prior. And of the 1.4 million of PSA, 818,000 were sports cards. So a little bit more than half were sports cards and the rest were non-sports and TCG. Are you guys surprised that it seems like we set a new grading record every few months and here we are again? Is more growth possible? Like, how many of these slabs can the world even support before the weight of all these slabs just literally like kind of tips the world over on its axis and we go like rolling off into deep space? Carter, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I see grading continue to grow. I mean, we have CGC, opening up in Oregon with Fanatics Collect. I think that may bring a lot of demand. Fanatics is going to put a lot behind that. They're going to promote it a lot. I'm not going to be surprised when we see 2 million cards graded in a month. Now, could it double from what we hear today? That's debatable, right? I think that's a far stretch thing, but we're going to definitely see 2 million cards graded in a month. Hopefully by the end of the year.
Teapot, where does this all go?
Well, I think there's a lot more new people coming into the hobby and a lot more new people discovering grading. The big thing I ask myself is like, who owns all these cards? I mean, we've heard estimates that there's 2 or 3 or maybe 4 million people buying cards every year. It's got to be way bigger than that. That number has to be like not even anywhere close to what the actual number of people buying cards is. We see the eBay volume come through market movers, and we know how many transactions and sales are happening with that. Now you look at the grading numbers, just the money it costs to get those cards graded. $20 a card minimum, right? For PSA 1.4 million cards. That's a lot of people spending a lot of money and then getting those cards back. How many graded cards does the average collector own? I don't know, 100, 200, 500? Like, add the numbers up. At some point, it does feel like, where do these cards end up and where do they reach a saturation point? But it hasn't slowed down yet. I thought it would have by now, honestly, but it just keeps rolling. And I think a lot of that's new people coming in, new products. Grading has just become sort of like the status quo. It's become what you do when you pull a big card. Much to the chagrin of anybody who likes to buy a raw card that's nice, because they don't want to pay the premium for it being graded, but you almost can't now. You'd be foolish not to send nice cards to get them graded.
The other thing is, I think grading has become more accessible. Like, there's now, obviously, here at Cards HQ, you can walk your cards right in, and through our partnership with Got Baseball Cards, we can help you get them graded. If you want to go direct to the grading companies, their process of intaking the cards has become more sophisticated. PSA has done a lot of work on improving their app, improving their website, improving the grading submission flow, and it's made a difference. I can tell you from firsthand experience, having done a lot of grading submissions over the last few years, that the process has gotten a lot better. Still not perfect. There's still some intimidation for your newer collectors, and that's why people like to use our bulk grading services here and go through our website for bulk grading. But over time, that stuff will continue to get better. I mean, eventually you'll probably get to the point where you can, scan cards raw and it detects them. They've got that, PSA's got that in their app right now. Accuracy on it's not so good. It's like maybe, 60% or something like that. That's gonna get better over time, eventually. And once it does, the process of submitting will become more seamless. And I think as grading becomes more accessible, I would love to see PSA put a counter here. I would love to see 24-hour turnaround grading take place inside Cards HQ and other card shops across the country. It's great that CGC is doing that with Fanatics Collect. I think that's pretty cool, but I think that type of thing could be done in more places and then you could get these numbers up even more. These are impressive numbers, but as it becomes more and more accessible, I think these records are meant to be broken.
Obviously, the bulk of it is PSA. One thing that stood out to me was CGC up 60% year over year.
Yep.
And a lot of that is obviously TCG, but now with the Fanatics thing, I think they're making waves and continuing to grow in a way that's scalable for them.
All right, guys, what do you think of all of this? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget about that Arena Club slab packs drop tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Download the Arena Club app and use promo code SCI to take part in that and save your 10% for first-time Arena Club users. We appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care.